back to our, I guess, new weekly show, Let's Talk Lorcana. We are so excited to have everybody join. And for this evening's show, we have a packed agenda.
We do. Lots of guests.
Lots of guests. We have 3 guests this evening from different parts of, I guess, the Western Hemisphere. So really excited for you to meet all of our incredible guests. They all have amazing stories, connections to Lorcana and this amazing game. We're also like in the countdown for the game being out.
One week to go, less than a week to go. So we're very excited. So here's what we're doing tonight. I know a lot of you are here for the main event. We're gonna we have several people we're talking to. First thing we want to do though is introduce our fantastic co-host
for the evening.
What's up?
Brandon from B Squared.
Hey guys.
Brandon runs the channel at B Squared 24 on YouTube. A fantastic creator. Went to GenCon with us. Brandon, have you recovered from GenCon yet?
I feel like I'm just now recovering from GenCon, honestly. I have this bad habit of not sleeping as much as I should pretty regularly, but it was awful on GenCon. We all stayed up too late, and so trying to catch up on that sleep, it's taken me about a week, but I feel like I'm finally there, just in time for Lorcana release this week.
If y'all haven't caught Brandon's GenCon recap video, we actually watched it last night. It is excellent.
As soon as it dropped.
And definitely recommend everybody checking that out. He talks a lot about the lack of sleep you experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the good, the bad, and the ugly. And what I love about your recap too is you really gave it a personal touch and showed kind of your journey through GenCon, and so people I think got to experience the convention through you, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It was an extremely fun experience. As I say in the video, like the highlight was meeting you guys or meeting Liam. Hopefully, Aaron, I get to see you in Miami. But meeting the rest of the Lorcana crew and like hanging out with friends that I haven't seen for ever met everybody for the first time. So it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's always one of my favorite things Liam talks about his experience at GenCon is when my brother went to the Lorcana meetup with him on Thursday night and just was like in a complete state of disbelief that no one in the room had ever met each other outside of like the little pockets of creators. But it sounded so incredible. And I loved getting to like follow along online with all of y'all's shenanigans that weekend and fun. So yeah, it seemed amazing.
Yeah, it was like surreal. There were multiple times where we were all just sitting around a table and I'm just like looking at everybody's face and I'm like, I've talked to all of these people for 8 months on the internet and they're all right. Like, it's hard to believe they're all right here in front of me in person. It was awesome.
I can't even imagine. I experienced half of that when Liam brought home like Lorcana cards and I held them in my hand.
I saw that in y'all's video. That was awesome.
So like that partnered with like actually getting to meet everyone and have that experience. I can't even imagine how surreal that must have been for everybody.
Yeah.
So.
Super cool.
Yeah. So are we ready to introduce our first guest?
So here's what we're gonna do. First, I want to say, hey, if anybody throughout the stream, throughout the show tonight has any questions for our guests or any comments you want to make, go ahead and make them in the chat, and we'll ask when we can. We have several things to get to tonight. The first thing on our agenda is announcing our next unrevealed Miami TCG and con guest. But before we do that, we had an unexpected ad last minute. We wanted to bring you all a story, and not, it's no. It's hate to start the show on a sad note, but for those who are paying attention to what's going on in the world right now, specifically, in the USA and in Hawaii. There's some terrible wildfires down there, which have devastated Maui and several communities down there. And it's
No, I was just gonna add. So, everybody, we talk a lot about LGSs and how much they mean to Liam and I know to Brandon, his local store, and just how incredible these institutions are to local communities. So we are so honored tonight to have an LGS owner from Maui join us on the call and talk a little bit about his store. Hi, Mark. It's so nice to see you.
Hello. Don't be sad. It's we're alive and well.
Good. We're so glad to hear that. And you are safe in a safe location right now?
My house was in a different part of Maui, and the power was out that day because of blown down power lines, and so we weren't able to get to the store. So my wife and I were very safe. Unlike my son, I'll talk about that in a little bit, but
yeah.
So briefly, you're the owner of Game Odyssey, a game store, on the island there. And we, not to spoil it for too many, but it doesn't exist anymore. And so in honor of your store, can you tell us just a little bit about your store, describe it for us, and why you chose to open it?
Well, we'd been open. We were 1 week away from our 1-year anniversary. My son, who's autistic, really, this was like his dream to come true. His knowledge on gaming is incredible. And so I kind of found out about board game stores late in life, and he kind of told me about them. And so when we decided to do it, we opened the store we didn't want to be pigeonholed into cards or D&D or Warhammer. We carried everything. We had just a multitude and I wanted to carry enough so if somebody showed up, we had it. So we had the full array of everything, and we tried to be a little bit of everything to everybody. That's kind of simple as we could put it.
That's amazing.
And so you told us earlier that opening the store was kind of a dream of your son's, and that that's one of the reasons that you opened the store. Can you describe that a little bit?
Well, he's autistic, but he's highly functional autistic, and ever since he was 8 years old, he's been playing video games and board games, and that the doctor actually recommended that he do this to help his coordination and things like that and his reasoning. And I guess I supplied that enough that he really went out and did it, and he got really good at it. And I really didn't know how good he was at it until we opened the store. But he's 37. This is the first time in his life that I have saw him truly happy and motivated. He was in his element, and he felt like the master of his domain. And losing the store it's a lot, and hopefully I get to put that smile back on his face someday. Yeah. And that's going to be the main focus. It's not so much really what we lost. I want to try to give that back to him. It was so, as a father, it was so nice to see him so motivated.
Well, Mark, one of the amazing things about, I think, LGSs as well is they serve almost as community centers as well. They bring people together who have, from different walks of life around a table to have a shared experience. What did Game Odyssey, mean to your community, and what was that community like in your store?
Because the store was in Maui and 2 million tourists come to Maui a year. On Friday night magic nights, we would have people maybe from Bulgaria or Denmark come in and say, "Oh, you're doing a draft. I'm going to sit in with you." And so it wasn't just the local community that we affected. We had we were building a world store, basically a tourist local game store, if you will. And the outpouring of emotion that I've seen and how we've affected people's lives, you really don't get that a lot of times as a store owner. You don't get the happy stuff. You get a lot of, this wasn't right, or that wasn't right, or this didn't, but to see all the good stuff that we've got coming in and all the great things people have been writing, it really touches my heart and shows that we were something to the community.
We We appreciate your story. We know that you're hoping to rebuild eventually.
Yeah, if we can find a place. I mean, it's all gone.
Yeah. Well, Mark, I really appreciate, your story. We know that you're trying to rebuild. We also understand, from talking to you that you do have some insurance money coming in. It's not going to cover anywhere near the loss. And so to reopen, to help reopen, you've started a GoFundMe.
Yes.
We're gonna link that in the chat for anybody watching, so people can access that.
Thank you very much.
It's the least. We love LGSs. As Aaron said, they're part of the fabric of our communities. And so you were also going to be a Disney Lorcana OP store. And I know you were gearing up for the launch, and instead now you're gearing up to try to.
Yeah, we were approved, and we went to GenCon, and we were in that first day mob, and that was an incredible event. And we sat in the lines for hours to get all of our stuff, and we wanted to have stuff to display for our people before it opened, and all that was such going to be such an exciting week this week, and it's things have changed a little bit, and even got a signed print from Nicholas. So we really had a great time at GenCon, and it's disappointing that we didn't get to do that. One side note, though, I think Ravensburger is going to allow us to get our first shipment, so that anybody that has placed an order with us, we can take care of them. And I don't know if I'm going to have anything left over, but if we do, people can contact the store at our website or wherever, and we can see if we can get them taken care of.
Right.
That's awesome.
Well, that's great. Well, thanks so much for your story. Thanks so much for your time. We wish you the best of luck with everything, not only the store, but everything you all are dealing with down there. And for anybody watching, the GoFundMe is in the comments. You can find it there. And Mark, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks. You. Best of luck to you, Mark.
Thank you.
All right. Well, it was an unexpected add to the show, but these types of stories we think are important, especially with everything LGSs do for the community.
Yeah. Especially, with the game coming out this week. It's just tough time.
Anyway, so on to happier things. So I know a lot of you are waiting. We are going to get to Nick Kole. He's going to come on in the second half of the show. But first, we are very excited to do the next part. We're going to announce for you the next artist who's going to appear at Miami TCG Con. We're going to invite him on to chat with you all. It's an artist that we are very fond of and have grown to know. Just one quick story. This very talented artist, is having a bit of a rough time during the pandemic, as all of us were. And during that period, he said to himself, to motivate himself, focus on Disney. Focus on Disney. And that was kind of his mantra. And somehow, Disney came calling.
Yeah, he got an email
crazy.
from Ravensburger. So
Brandon, you want to read his cards off real quick to tip people off?
Yeah, okay. So there's 5 cards from this artist. We'll see if you guys can guess who it is before they come onto the show. The first one is a favorite of mine. It's called Dinglehopper. Second card is Shield of Virtue. Third is Tangle. Fourth is Lantern. And then the fifth is actually a card that they collaborated with somebody on, Mr. Smee.
It's a fun one. These are some of Lantern is one of my all-time favorite cards. I'm waiting to see somebody guess in the comments, but no, we'll bring him into chat. So joining us from Brazil is Lorcana artist Eri Welli.
Woo!
Hello.
Eri. Thanks so much for joining us this evening.
Oh, thank you for I'm sorry, my mind is just blank. I was like paying attention to your introduction. I was like, they got it all right. It seems like I'm a celebrity, so like I was still processing it.
You are.
Hello.
You definitely are, Eri.
Yeah. I'm showing up with cards for you to sign, dude. Your celebrity status.
That is true.
Oh, yeah.
When you're signing things,
Maybe.
you made it.
Maybe I have to get used to it yet.
Well, Eri, it is so great to see you again. For those in the chat, we do have a full, if you want to really spend an hour with Eri and get to know him, we have an artist interview that we pushed out in the spring with Eri. And you are just such an amazing person and an artist. One of the things that we talked about in the interview that one of the things I love about your art is you are so incredibly versatile in your art style. If people, I'm sure most everyone in the chat has seen your Lorcana art, but you also do these incredibly realistic portraitures of people in your community that you meet. I'd love for you to talk a little bit about kind of your balance of like your Disney art and your more whimsical and your portraitures that you do of people in your community.
Yeah, I think when I'm studying, I like to do realistic stuff. And I think we learn a lot by the realistic ones. Because I think if I'm studying something very complex, it seems easier to put this complexity on simple stuff, you know? And also it helps me to solve problems. Like whenever I'm doing something I don't know how to deal with, like something on the drawing, either on the painting, I always get my knowledge from other sources. So like either by design stuff or my realistic painting, I'm always taking like, oh, I know this will work out somehow in here. So I think everyone should not be. I think this versatility helps me to solve problems a lot, right? This is why when I'm studying, when I'm thinking, and when I'm very, very loose painting or drawing, I like doing complex stuff. I like studying a lot. Like you see my my books out there, and I like studying complex stuff because when at the end of the day, you never remember everything, right?
Yeah.
You never remember everything. So when you study complex, you always remember something from there. So I have this kind of thinking when I'm studying. Do it realistic. Don't worry about style, and because this will be compensated on the end at the end.
Obviously, I mean, Ravensburger called. That's so awesome. Well, Eri,
yeah, it was funny because when they called me, I'm sorry.
No, go.
Tell your story.
Well, when they called me, it was when I started doing some very loose drawings, right? I was trying out some working with lines and like there's even if you see on my feed, there is like a very cute bear saving his son. I think this is the most wholesome art I've had at the moment. And I think it got really huge on the internet. So this is almost like when they called me. So I think it was funny because I was really having fun with lines and trying out some different style.
That's amazing.
And all of a sudden it happened.
Leave it to Shane Hartley and his team to just track down any artist in the world.
Yeah.
Well, great. What are you so Eri, is this going to be your first time in the US or have you been to the US before?
Not at all. Actually, I've only had flight twice by now, like to the south. To the south of Brazil. It was once I was for a art event.
Okay.
I had to meet other artists there. And now I went to Rio de Janeiro just to have the visa, because it's a very difficult process. And, I had to go to the south and then everything. I was really I was really hoping it would go all right, right?
Yeah.
So I had to go to the south, and going to the south in Brazil is like going to another country. Brazil is really huge, right? So, but yeah, it went all right, and
Good.
now my third flight will be out of the country, and I was not expecting that at all.
Well, what are you most excited about going to Miami? What is something you're really looking forward to?
Oh, I think I'm excited about meeting the other artists, because when we when we work like very far away, we don't get to know each other very much, right? Like we we do some, exchange some arts. Like I see someone's arts, and then I have to sometimes we have to work like continue other person's arts, but we don't have like time to hang out that much. So I think it will be good to know each other, to getting to know someone, and uh, everyone has its process. It's very good to see how they draw in person.
Mhm.
I think it will be a nice exchange, and I'm very looking forward to that.
Eri, I had a question about that regarding working with some other artists. As I mentioned on your introduction, the Mr. Smee card is a collaboration card.
Yeah.
Um, what was that like, actually working with another artist on a piece like that? Like, if you can share that, what was there like certain parts that just you were working on, and then other parts that the other artist was working on? Was it more of a collaboration of you both were working on a bunch of stuff together? What was that like?
Oh, I mean, I'm not sure, because this is the only one I've done in collaborations.
Hmm.
So, at least for Lorcana, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I've done the colors basically. Like,
Okay.
yeah, the he have done the lines, and I've done the colors. That I've done, like, yeah.
Okay.
They're like, oh, you're so good with colors. Why don't you color this? Like, okay. And my first cards were the item cards, uh, the 3 items
Mhm.
one,
Hmm.
and then I got the other two. Uh, I think they liked the item cards.
I have
They're
Yeah.
to
like, oh yeah,
I have to
yeah,
say, I love with Mr. Smee. I love that you did the colors because I am obsessed with the hue of his shirt.
Hmm.
Like the color selection that you
oh yeah.
specifically chose for the blue of his shirt. I just love that. It makes him pop so much. So that's
Yeah,
exciting.
I like doing a lot of color sketch, what I call color sketch. I've learned that with John Loring,
Mhm.
because he always does this color comp, right?
Mhm.
To really like go crazy with colors and try this and that, and then you use that sketch as a reference to just pick up the color from the your sketch. So this helps a lot, like on the rendering, and to really get the piece all together.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, if I don't do this color sketch, it will probably be messy.
Well,
I like, because I like this idea of uh, to making colors look like they are on the same universe,
mhm.
So I do a lot of mixtures, and tries, and yeah, just I just go all crazy with colors, and then when I feel like this is okay, I save that sketch and use that as reference. That's the best advice I've had in illustration, I guess.
That's fun. We do want to get a question or two in from the chat. We did have somebody ask. Eliza asked, "Do you do anything to help you concentrate while making art? Do you play music or have a show? What do you do to kind of get in the zone?"
Well, I listen to podcasts. I like podcasts a lot. Yeah, especially the comedy ones. I like.
What's your favorite
uh,
favorite comedy podcast?
well, the ones, I mean, the international ones. I like the basement yard. You know the basement yard?
I
No, you
don't.
know.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We're
The
gonna look it up
basement
now,
yard. Yeah, it's a very fun one. Yeah, the basement yard. Um, there is, yeah, mostly like Portuguese as well.
Mhm.
But I like the comedy ones. Like I like the ones with Jack Whitehall. You know Jack Whitehall, right?
Mhm.
At
Mhm.
least he's an actor. It's a really good comedy. Oh, I like also watching the shows like what is that one? Uh, just forgot. It's like that guy. He does interview with people on. He's British. Um he has gray hair. Anyway, he's just a really good guy.
Don't know.
Oh, it's
Graham Norton.
Graham
Graham
Norton. Yeah,
Norton.
Oh
Yeah.
yes,
yeah,
I
yeah.
love Graham Norton. Yeah.
I love watching his show. So I just let it there and start painting. Yeah. I
And
think because I think most of these shows they are 1 hour long. So I think it's enough for a session when I'm drawing. So I have 1 hour, then when the show is finishes, I know it's time to rest, and then I play another show and then start drawing again. I like to think like each show it's a session. I think it makes sense.
keeps track of time too. That's a good one.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no. So we have a question from Sky. They noticed that you play chess. Do you like strategy games? And have you played Lorcana yet? Or do you have plans to play Lorcana?
Oh, I'm very bad with TCG because I don't really play that. I haven't played at all. I think I've tried to do once like the Magic,
Mhm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
MTG,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really terrible. I don't know how to play it. But at chess, I started. Yeah, with chess, I started playing after watching the show, The Queen's Gambit,
Yes.
Yes,
and I was
great
like,
show.
yeah, I really went crazy with it, and then like I downloaded the app and started
Mhm.
playing every day. Like every day, I was playing chess. Until now, I'm like playing almost every week. Like, when I'm, just hanging, uh, relaxing or chilling, I just go there and play a 3 minutes, a 3 minutes match of chess with anybody in the world.
Do
And
you
I'm
have
like,
a
I'm like averagely good, I guess.
do you have a
Yeah.
chess ranking online?
Oh yeah, I think it's 900.
Okay, not
Yeah,
bad.
I don't know if that's good
yeah.
or bad. Brandon, is that good?
That's pretty good, especially if you haven't played chess very long, right? You haven't played it as a child or anything. I kind of did the same thing. I watched the Queen's Gambit, really fell into it, and like chess got super popular online. Everybody started watching it, and like I did the exact same thing. I started watching a lot of chess and playing a lot of chess. I never got up to 900. I was not that good at it, but it was fun.
Well, Eri, you have some challengers in the chat here that may be reaching out to you for a game or two.
Oh yeah, just add me. It's Eri Welli. Just you can add me on
Nice and easy to
chess.com.
remember. So Eri, last question before we let you go. I'm curious. Do you have a favorite card in Lorcana that you did not illustrate? What is your favorite that's not yours?
I think there is one from Goofy, right? I'm
Mhm.
not sure who did that. I think it was Alice Bizzoni. Was it Alice Bizzoni? I think it was her.
Goofy?
It's the Musketeer Goofy.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
think that was Alice. Musketeer Goofy is really good though.
yeah. It's very colorful, and those greens on the background. It's really, really makes the card really, beautiful. I remember when I saw that the first time, I was like, oh wow, I
These are
have
very
to get
colorful.
to this level now.
Brandon, who did that one? Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Okay, Sky got it, I think. I was trying to load it.
Yeah, Joachim van
Yeah.
Kole.
Goofy from also I like the one from Cookie. It's the Beast, like he's really
Yes.
mad, like
I know which
you
one you're
know.
talking about.
Yeah, smashing the
Yeah.
globe, destroying artifacts, and no, that's
One
good.
of my
So,
favorites. Yeah.
Goofy is the promo card for GamesCon in Europe. So anybody in Europe, if you're watching, you got to get Eri a promo card of Goofy. That's one of our missions. Well, Eri, thanks so much for joining us. Just to remind everybody who's watching, we're announcing Eri Welli will be appearing at Miami TCG Con in October, the 21st and 22nd. He'll be one of at least 10 artists there to sign your cards and meet you and hang out and meet the other artists. So we're excited for that. Eri, thanks for joining us this evening.
Oh, thank you for calling me, and you can call me anytime you want. It's a pleasure to be here. I was actually missing this time to hang out with you because it was so fun the last time.
Yeah.
And yeah.
We'll do it again.
Yeah, in Miami, for sure.
In Miami now. Yeah.
We have plans. We have plans. So we'll do it again. All right.
Thanks so much, Eri.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Eri.
Oh, that was fun. Eri is one of our favorite. You know, I'll be honest. There's not a Lorcana artist that I've met and interacted with who I haven't left the conversation saying they're the most wonderful person.
I know. It's so, get off artist interviews. I'm like, they're so wonderful.
Every time.
I find myself doing that with the art in Lorcana. I'm like, every single card that I find, I'm like, oh, this is my favorite. This is my favorite card art. And it's just like, all of them are so good. All the artists did great.
I mean, I would say, like, speaking of people who just live through their art and just radiate joy and kindness and things that are wonderful.
Perfect segue. Brandon, do you want to introduce our next guest?
I would love to. You guys know him. You love him. He's practically the face artist for Disney Lorcana, having illustrated 10 Disney Lorcana cards, 6 of which all being on the front of the starter decks. Chat, please welcome Nicholas Kole to the stream. What's up?
Hi. What an intro. Jeez. Thank you. Shucks to all of you.
Nick, dude, I'm so happy that you're here with us. I was also at GenCon. I know you were at GenCon. I want to hear more about that in a second. But every slot you had for your signing, I had an event that was like 4 hours long that I couldn't make it to. I was so upset I couldn't run by and say hi. So I'm really happy that I get to say hi on this one. Luckily, I had some friends run by with some cards to get you to sign, but I'm gonna have to catch you at some other time and get you to sign the rest.
I think somebody mentioned, yeah, I think they were like, this is for Brandon.
This is me.
Yeah.
I need you to sign 5 cards, but they're not.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, Nick,
awesome.
I mean, we had an opportunity. You were the very first artist we got to interview back in November. I have vivid memories sitting at my dad's house for Thanksgiving, actually interviewing you. And Liam and I were so nervous. It was so crazy. Liam's like, what if he doesn't show? What if he doesn't? Oh my gosh, she's here.
What if he hates us?
You guys are great.
And so we always start our artist interviews. And I think it started with you, with asking you, about, you're about to meet a whole new group of fans when they open Lorcana cards for the first time and experience your art for the first time, and how would you introduce yourself to them? And you are probably the artist who has now had an opportunity to meet the most Lorcana fans at GenCon. What was that experience like for you? Tell us about your GenCon story.
Sure, yeah, no, gladly. GenCon was incredible, man. I knew it would be exciting. I was excited to go, period, no matter what. Obviously, we've been working on this and keeping it kind of, under a lid for a while. So just finally getting to introduce more of the art, more of the cards, and kind of meet folks who were excited about it was just always going to be exciting. But I really did not know to anticipate the kind of hype that was there on the floor and in the lines. And it's funny you just mentioned, obviously meeting Lorcana artists and finding us all to be a pretty lovable bunch. And I felt very much the same about meeting everybody in the lines. Like, I did not have a single interaction that weekend with a fan of Lorcana who wasn't like super delightful. You know, Liam, I know you were right up there in one of the first like lines of the signings, and I was like, when am I going to see Liam? I know he's out here somewhere.
I got in line an hour early on the first day.
Yeah. I mean, people were sleeping. I've never been involved in anything where people slept in the line for anything. So that was kind of mind blowing, really mind blowing. And seeing the art, you know, knowing that my stuff has been on the pack fronts, like in the abstract is one thing, and working on an iPad kind of in this room, and you know, kind of just doing this isolated on one side of the internet. I was excited, and I knew obviously each time I get a brief with one of these characters, it's like, oh, here we go, you know, really, really big one. But it's still relatively abstract, and then seeing them like blown up the size of the booth and people in line, and meeting people who had made like cosplay or little like kind of custom like stuff for some of the logos, hats and stuff like that. It was really delightful. My wife and I have been talking about it ever since, so we had a great time.
Oh my gosh, Erica was there too. Now I'm even more.
Was that Erica in the picture with the Lorcana light at the event you went to?
Yeah. Yep, that's her.
Oh,
That's what I thought. That's what
her.
I thought.
Yep. She was back out of her cosplay. This is just a little non-Lorcana related story, but I don't know if you guys have been playing Zelda at all in the last couple of months, but my wife is a huge Beetle fan, so the Beetle salesman Beetle backpack, and I just knew this, and so I'm always on the lookout for stuff that, you know, is relevant to her interests. I was trying to meet her up on the floor, and then Beetle walked past me in costume, and I was like, "Oh, hold on, Beetle, let me get a photo for my wife." And Beetle turned around, and it was my wife, and she had been building this cosplay in secret and hid it in her luggage and like wore it, and it was the great.
That is awesome.
For y'all in chat, by the way, if y'all haven't seen Erica's art, she is an amazing artist in her own right. I definitely recommend you check her out online as well. She does some of my favorite little caricatures of her and Nick in their house.
It's true.
Getting all to these shenanigans. They're wonderful.
Yeah,
so definitely check out Erica.
Yeah, I didn't realize she was at the convention. That's so fun.
Yeah.
Although I thought that was her in the picture. I was like, I think that's Erica.
Yeah, now that you've mentioned it,
that's an awesome picture, by the way. I thought that was so cool.
With the light, yeah.
That
party was really wild. I want to like that's like the FOMO is such a thing with these events, but you know, it was pretty neat. It was very surreal to see they had made like drinks themed after each of the different ink colors and little like my art was on tables. That was weird. We like sat down and ate on top of Aurora.
I saw that table. That's so nuts.
How many of those drinks did you try? Did you have a favorite?
I think I did try every one of them over the course of the evening. Good question. Ooh. I think I liked the ruby one. That was kind of like a spicy whiskey something. Yeah, I can't remember the exact details, but
sounds like ruby.
Yep. Yeah, they were even like appropriately mixed and themed for the inks. It was pretty cool.
That's so fun.
That's awesome.
Well, I do want to ask you an art question, because so one, we really, really appreciate what you've been posting this week. If you're watching, you're probably following Nick and has seen his behind the scenes kind of concept photos for all of his work. If you're not following him, you should. Because you know, Nick, you've been posting some incredible like line work and full versions of your characters, and it's amazing. One of the things that you conveyed to us when we talked to you before is that when you're asked to reinterpret a character, and you've done it quite a bit, you feel kind of like a caretaker of that character, and that you're kind of, I mean, that's the best way to describe it. And you also told a delightful story about Sparks that relates to this, and I was wondering if you could relay that again.
Do the Sparks story again? Well, with Sparks. So I've done this a couple of times now. I did the kind of principal character design cast for the Spyro Reignited trilogy, and then also again for the Crash Bandicoot 4, and then the most recent Crash Rumble was kind of the same designs. And in all of those cases, it was like there was a pre-existing fandom full of people who were in love with the original source material, and we were acting as kind of stewards of that IP going forward. And it's a tricky mix. You want to be expressive and put your kind of mark on it and really be yourself. But you also really want to do right by the fans. And I think in the cases where I am especially a big fan, it's really natural to just want to like make sure you preserve that energy, you know, there's something to it. the thing is that's super subjective, and not everybody agrees on like what that actually is. And so in some cases it's like, it's great, it worked out really well. I don't think anybody who likes Mickey has told me that they're upset by Brave Little Tailor or something like that. But in the case of Sparks and Spyro, I don't know, we were taking the entire game and kind of up-resing it so everything had more detail. So instead of just a plane of green blur, you had individual blades of grass, and instead of, you know, like sort of a texture, you know, of kind of a muddy gray, you had bricks and stones and castles. And if you look back at the original, it's very, you know, rudimentary visually in that sense, just not art direction, but just the technical stuff. Anyways, blah, blah, blah. This is too long a version of this story. But as you start to bring up those details, you look at a character like Sparks from the original, and it gets weirder and weirder that he doesn't have legs. Like, he's just this little head and butt kind of floating in the air. And the more detail you add to the world around him, the weirder it feels that he's just kind of a disembodied little guy. So I added legs to Sparks, and the fandom did not prefer that at all. It was complicated though, because it, you know, he can go and grab things with his hands now, and he'll wave hello to you in little like animations, and that couldn't happen without the legs. But it was one of those little moments where I tried something, I changed it, we got pretty quick feedback that wasn't the vibe. So, you know.
Well, you have at least one person in the chat who was good with it. Is totally good with Sparks with legs. So you have one supporter. Nick, we do want to bring in another guest real quick to say hello, if you don't mind. You have some fans, in particular one fan who met you at GenCon, who wanted to say hello and maybe ask a question. It was one of the highlights of her experience. But so we'll welcome in Michael and Soleil.
Hi,
Hi, Nick. How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Good to see you guys again.
So much fun meeting you in GenCon. You know, me, my family, Soleil, my wife, and everyone. And thank you for your generous, you know, signing. I know your hand must hurt so much signing all these cards, but it was a blessing. Thank you so much.
Meeting you guys was so wonderful. Honestly, everybody who came up with their kids, Soleil, meeting you and seeing your excitement was a highlight of the whole trip for me. So thank you guys for coming.
Thank you. I appreciate it. You have a question?
Yeah. What's your favorite character that you designed?
Ooh, in Lorcana?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, tricky. I think it is hard. I think that Brave Little Tailor Mickey was something I was really excited to sort of help design. In a lot of cases, there were characters where I was doing the art, like Maleficent. I love Maleficent, but we were using the canon traditional kind of the look of, from the movies of her. But with Brave Little Tailor, I was allowed to kind of tweak things a little bit. There were some other artists who helped and did some design work on that, but I got to kind of add my own elements to it as well. And I think when it's Mickey Mouse, you know, he's so special that just getting to work on Mickey felt really like important to me. So that was a really fun one to do.
Yeah, that's a great. I wish you were there at D23 to sign this card for us.
I wish it was too. It looked like fun. You guys were at D23? Yeah?
We were at D23, and we have the set, and of course, a couple of the Mickey cards. I have to send them for you to sign.
Sure. Yeah. Actually, let's make sure. Do you have my PO box? I can give you the address.
Sure, that would be great. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I have a quick question for you, Zach.
Yeah, we'll sort it out after the.
Yeah.
We'll connect you after the show.
Totally.
Good. Questions I have when you design these cards or the characters, do you take a special scene from a movie and try to put your touches on it, or it's completely from your imagination? So for Frozen, do you take special scene and you try to put that on the card, or it's completely, you know, you start from scratch and you design the card?
That's a good question. It's a bit of both. I think that in every case when we're working on Lorcana, the scenes that the characters are physically in, what they're doing, it's always new. we're always trying to put them in the world of Lorcana and not just in their original movies per se. So if you look in the backgrounds of something like the Aladdin card that I did, or in some cases it's more obvious than others, but you'll see like we did a sort of architecture that looks like Agrabah a little bit from the movie, but we added these kind of shapes and lines that are very much like the Illuminary and kind of evocative of Lorcana. So each time we set a scene, it's kind of a mixture of wanting to capture the spirit of the original film, but also make it work all together in the sort of imaginary world of Lorcana.
Great. Do you also have a process before you design a card? Like, do you watch the movie, I don't know, 6-7 times before you start designing the card, or do something specific to get you in the mood of the movie?
Yeah, maybe not 6 or 7 times, but definitely like I'll rewatch for sure. And the soundtrack is always like, if I don't have time to watch the whole movie, just putting on some of the songs will just bring it back really intensely, those emotions, and so that always works for me in a big way, definitely. I'll just usually when I start, I work on my iPad mostly. Most of the work winds up going to the iPad, but when I begin to kind of come up with the first ideas, sometimes I'll just go for a walk or kind of go somewhere else, coffee shop, with a pencil or a marker or something really simple, and just sketch out really, really loose ideas for the composition in the card.
Great.
Interesting. No, Slade, do you have one more question?
Yeah. Like, did like Lorcana like ask you what to design, or did you come up like with it yourself, like the character?
Yeah. They usually ask me, they have ideas of what character they want to see. So they'll come with maybe sometimes a list. They'll say, okay, we're doing Aladdin, Mickey, Maleficent. Which one do you want? And I'll pick one from that set. But sometimes it's just like, hey, we need you to do Elsa. And it's like, yes, I will do Elsa. Absolutely.
Okay.
So it's usually they ask me. But at the very beginning, when they reached out at the very start, before we started making the cards themselves, we did kind of a concept phase where they were like, we all got kind of together, all the artists at the very start, and just randomly picked a couple designs that we were interested in from all of Disney, and just did a version or two that was kind of styled like Lorcana. And some of those made it in, and some of those are still out in the world, and we don't know, and I can't talk about the details, but it was really fun.
Maybe the next print.
Yeah.
I was about to say, we've seen some questions in the chat. As Nick mentioned that we've seen some questions in the chat that we're going to hold off on because they get a little NDA-y.
We're always careful about that.
We know how much Disney loves their NDAs, so we're not able to talk about Chapter 2 right now since that's not out. But if you have questions about Chapter 1, since that's been released, I think the first chapter, since that's been released, please keep sending them.
One last question that we have for Nick is there any character that he wish he designed or he wish he designed in the next chapter?
Yeah, lots of them. Yeah, absolutely. There's
some.
You have to leave that one because if he answers, like, we know things, so we have to.
I could say what I want, and you could decide whether I got to do it or not. It would be mysterious about how that worked out. But I've been telling everybody that I'm on a mission to get Goofy Movie in the cards.
So we know that.
Yeah, everybody knows that. I'm just trying to make Powerline happen. I grew up on Goofy Movie. In fact, if you look in the back, there's this little map on the wall is a recreation of the map from a Goofy movie done by Claire Hummel.
That's cool.
You carry that banner, Nick.
I had a goal tonight to try to get Tevin Campbell on this stream, and so if I ever invite you back mysteriously, I'm like, Nick, I need you on the stream tonight.
You know something's up. Well, I will. Yes, you will see me completely lose my mind in a way that I'm not sure I want on stream.
Be good entertainment. Hey, Michael and Slade, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Very nice meeting you again, Nick. Thank you.
Thanks, Soleil. Have a good night.
Bye.
Yeah. Oh man, that was fun. I
That was
love them
awesome.
so much.
It's so cool to see them and like all the families that were buying or getting things signed for their children, and kind of it seemed like there was a real spirit of like, oh, I'm gonna play this with my kids, or the kids were there being like, that's my card.
Yeah.
And that means a lot, when you're doing something like this.
It's so fun. Yeah, it's we have another surprise, but before we do that, what you mentioned Brave Little Tailor Mickey, and then you also mentioned the cosplay, and I have to ask very specifically, what was it like seeing a cosplay of Sorcerer Mickey, like something you designed, like in real life, like manifest?
I wish I had seen it in real life, because I had left just the day before he showed up in the full cosplay. So what I got was an email from Shane, just like in the middle of the day, just like, dude, and just photos of him with the cosplayer attached. And I was like, what? No. It was so cool. Really, really neat. That's very seldom happened. Occasionally across other projects, like there's things here and there, but it's always super special. It feels like, as an illustrator, that's one thing, but as a character designer, especially, like to have somebody cosplay something you designed is always like, you feel like you've made it,
Oh, a new video idea just popped into my head. I'm gonna make this happen. I love linking people up. Nick, we have another surprise. We're gonna do a surprise artist roundtable here and bring in some more guests.
All right.
Yeah, first we're gonna bring back Eri, because he mentioned right up front that he can't wait to hang out with other Lorcana artists and meet them. So we're gonna bring Eri back.
Hi, Eri.
Hello. Hi,
Prince
Nicholas.
Eric is so good.
Yeah. Oh my
Eri,
God.
Eri has said what a fan he
It
is of
means
yours.
so much.
So this was fun. And we're gonna bring in another guest you may or may not know. Friend of
Luis.
yours.
Hey, bud.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
Hello, Eri.
For the last
Hey,
few
Luis.
minutes. This is so fun. I've been excited for one of the reasons I've been excited for my is to see all the Lorcana artists in one spot. Because I know a lot of you haven't met in person before. Although I know that Nick and Louise, you all know each other from previous projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. The Wingfeather Saga and
And Lorcana.
Lorcana. I feel like Spyro is almost like, I mean, we didn't work on Spyro together per se.
You guys pretty much injected the art style into my veins, because that's
Yeah,
what
I feel such a baby here.
Eri, is this one of your first projects, or?
I mean, as big as Lorcana, yes.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All the work is good work. I'm sure you'll be killed.
Yeah. No, this is amazing. So I do have a question, like, for everybody, and it came from the chat. But before we do that, I'm just really curious, Louise, can you tell the story of like meeting Nick? I know he was an inspiration before you met him, but I'm interested in this connection.
Yeah, so we met in person back in 2019 on Lightbots Expo, and he was doing a demo at the Procreate booth. And yeah, it's basically it was like the first time I met him in person, but he pretty much emanated that feeling of, I don't know, something very cheerful about him, that it was like, yeah, I just love Nick. He's
I remember.
Like, yeah,
you gave me tequila, didn't you?
yeah. Yeah, so I brought some small bottles of tequila, and the only thing that was in my mind the day after was, how was the tequila?
So that's what you bring on your first date. Like, if you love someone, you just bring a tequila.
That's so fun. I'm interested in how that conversation went. Like, it's so nice to meet you. I brought
Here's
some
a tequila.
Wait, here's tequila. Well, usually it's something that my father taught me. Like, if you're like best friends with someone, even if it's like something small, you should just give it like a present. It's like a tradition, basically, in my family. If you, because we have been Nick and I were just chatting pretty much before, the whole event. I think it was when I started doing like Spyro fan art. Spyro Reunited was gonna come out, and I was doing like a lot of fan art, like a lot of his designs as well. So that's when pretty much everything started. He started to retweeting my stuff, and I was like, I just want to meet him because he seems like a cool guy. And that's when everything started. Yeah.
That was the best. I just seeing the Spyro fandom show up and you really stood out because you were like really in there and passionate, and the art was so good. You have such a like beautiful painterly oil style to the stuff that you do, and so much lovely texture. So I was excited to see, and have been excited to see, the cards that you've been doing. The Maleficent, the Dragon's Breath card that you've done is
So
like
amazing.
really, really top.
Yeah, that was actually the first card that I started to do. The Dragonfire one was the first one that started, and I think that was the first one that got like final approved. I think it was one of both Maleficent cards, because not gonna lie, it was the Maleficent Dragon was actually one of the hardest ones to
Really?
tackle. Yeah, like
Why
I
is
got
that?
yeah, I especially on the fact that Maleficent in the movie, well, she's actually like black. Yeah, you can see like it's basically just like a very very defined black shapes, because that's the strong characteristic of her design. So they were actually thinking back and forward if they were actually gonna do it like dark just for that one, or if we were just gonna apply like shades of purple and that kind of color into the card. But in the end it came out like, yeah, we should just use like purples, and because it really matches with the Ruby card. So especially on that, and also the body shape was actually very tricky as well. That's the one that I started to do first, and that's probably the last one. Yeah, now that I remember, yeah, it was like the last one of the first ones that I started to do, like got approved. But it was worth it. It was pretty worth it.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Luis, I have a question for you. We heard Nick just a second ago say that sometimes like Disney approached him and was like, "Hey, here's a couple characters. Which one do you want?" We know that you love your dragons. So when Disney approached you, did they give you any options on any character? You don't have to say which ones. I don't want to get you in trouble. But did they give you any options, or were they like, "We need you to do these dragons, man"? What was that like?
No, actually, they just gave me the assignments, and when I saw the list, it was like, wow, okay, sure, I can do this.
I'll draw a dragon, I guess.
Oh God, someone's gonna do it. Yeah.
I didn't hesitate. Like I was like, yes, yes. But yeah, it was basically like they give me the assignments after and I said like, yeah, sure. And some of them were actually like, wow, like it doesn't reflect in my art style, but it was like actually one of my favorite franchises, which is Mufasa.
I love that art from you. Yeah.
Yeah, when I saw Mufasa, I was like, my heart.
Yeah. Nick did Simba and you did Mufasa. That's a fun connection too.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I knew somewhere you had to be doing a Lion King thing. You say it's not obvious in your art, but I'm like, yeah, Luis does. I lion for sure. Like
dragon,
you did great. Your Flotsam, I think, or Jetsam.
Jetsam. I got Flotsam and also Gantu.
Yeah, Gantu's such a fun character. I love all the like aliens from Lilo and Stitch. I saw somebody in the chat being like, "Who's your favorite obscure character that you want to see get in?" And like all the like secondary and tertiary aliens from Lilo and Stitch.
Yes.
Oh, Lilo and Stitch has such a good design.
How about you guys? Eri, what weird sort of characters in the fringes of the Disney canon do you want to do as a card?
I like the villains a lot, so I would like to do like Scar or Hades. I think I like the, you know, the sly kind of personality. I like to do
I like
that.
the shoulder.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, because I'm thinking of Hades, like he's always like that, right? Yeah, I think the villains are my favorite.
I just realized another connection. So Eri did the card of Prince Philip like battling Maleficent.
Oh yeah. He did the fire. I did the
Look at
prince.
that.
And that was the fun one because it's a ruby card, right? And I had to do a shield. Like, how do I do such a stiff object as a ruby card, which ruby is like full of movement, and and I really like the outcome. Like it feels like he's in action, and I was really happy with that. But I was really worried at the first moment when I saw, oh my God, it's a shield, and I have to to make it look like it has movement and life, and yeah, it was really fun.
They gave you a lot of tough ones, Eri. They're like, make a fork look cool.
Yeah.
That's great, though.
Like,
That's a great
what
card.
kind of email did you get when they were like, we need you to draw a fork,
Yeah. Yeah, it was funny because I will tell I will be honest, when I first received, as it was my first big project, I didn't know how to approach this. And when they came to me, I was like, this must be fake. This must be fake. There's something wrong with it. And when they came, like one of the first cards was like a fork. I know this is fake. It's totally fake. They're like lying to me. And I'm this person. I'm this very suspicious person with everything. But when I got paid and I got like all the thing was going all right, I was, oh, something is happening, and I think I'm just not in my mindset like believing I am myself on this. So, yeah.
I don't know if you missed it or not in the chat there, but not only did you get to draw the Dinglehopper, but your Dinglehopper got the Nick Kole seal of approval just now. Yeah.
Great. So all the Dinglehoppers, it is the very most excellent Dinglehopper. I mean, it's honestly seeing that, like, that was one of the cards I saw, and it always makes me smile when it shows up in a deck or in play. Like it's that kind of little stuff. Drab Little Crab, the Dinglehopper, like the frying pan, like, and I know probably is an assignment, like draw a frying pan, isn't the most exciting, but I don't know who painted the frying pan card. They killed it. It's a really nice painting.
Yeah, I love doing these item cards because it's always like fun to bring like other like perspective on them and making like they, how do you do like a frying pan look special, right?
Yeah, totally.
So it's always fun to like bring that idea. And I also got a lot of magic cards for inspiration, and it helps a lot. Like they usually do a little shining thing around the object, and I think it's really fun, like some sparkles and effects. I think the items for me, it's fun to draw and to like represent somehow.
Always like it's been my strategy with any card in general is always add swirly magic if possible. Like always a good plus to the end of the card. And when they
but it's swirly magic is really difficult to do. Like when I'm saying it's really difficult. And I saw your style is like I'm always like trying to see the details and how do you do the waves, and that's difficult, but it definitely helps.
Yeah, I always like, especially if they pick it out in the foil and it just kind of catches the it's nice.
Yeah, chef's kiss. The foiling is so good. Hey, So we are running close on time. So we are going to say goodbye to Eri here. Eri, thanks for joining us at the end. We didn't mention it before, but everybody follow Eri on Instagram at Eri Welli. Eri, anything you'd like to say on the way out?
Just any advice on how to sign cards with such a huge queue? Because I'm going to do this in Miami, and I'm very desperate because when I saw Nicholas' stories with that huge queues and everyone, like, I'm going to be desperate on this event.
I got 2 pieces of advice for you. We got a whole box of Sharpies that they brought, the silver Sharpies. I just grab 10 of them and test them out immediately, because half of them are going to be awful. Actually, like 90% of the Sharpies will be dry and terrible.
Oh, no.
You want one that's like smooth and gooey, and like you find those. There's gonna be like 3 in the whole box, and just use those 100%. And then 2, like, if you do you have your signature already? Like, have you been using it like for a long time, or?
Yeah, more or less. I'm trying to like to think about it.
Special one for these, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's as simple as possible, like really easy and like flowy. You know, mine's like turned out to be very like, and I'm done.
Maybe I'll add some swirls on my signature. To be like
sparkly magic. That's good number 3. Always add sparkly magic. Good luck, Eri. I was excited and jealous you guys are going out to Miami. I couldn't get the time off from work, already going to Gen Con and everything, but maybe sometime in the future. So hope you guys have a good time.
I'm sure you all will meet at some point in person. Yeah. All right. Bye, Eri.
Bye, Eri.
Bye, Eri.
Luis, we're going to say goodbye to you too. Any final comments, question for Nick? Anything about Miami?
Well, people is asking if I'm going to bring any swag. So I have a little art book that I have. It's very old. It's from 2016, but still like has some of my art, and
I have it somewhere on the.
I was about to say, we need to know like we can't have art book anywhere near us. I think it's the other room.
Yeah. I give you guys a copy right back in when we were in Texas.
Yes.
And I'm going to bring that to Miami. So if you guys want to grab one, I will be bringing plenty. And answering one question that if I wish I could work on a card, like
yes,
for Lorcana.
There it is.
Got it.
There it is.
It's right there on hand.
Yeah, I'm going to bring some to Miami. So just to answer one question that you guys were asking about, if I could choose like a card, if I could work on a card for Lorcana, it's probably going to be Zootopia. Because
there he is.
Yeah, I'm a Zootopia fan, so anything about Zootopia, because the world building of that movie is just freaking fantastic. I have the art book signed with all the artists in my shelf as well, so it's going to be there it is.
Yeah. Nick with
there we go. We're manifesting right here.
Yeah. Nick.
If we shake it, they'll merge into one.
Yeah,
Nick,
friends or
Nick
something.
knows.
Like...
Nick knows well. Like, yeah, he knows me pretty well. But yeah, I'm very excited to go to Miami and just preparing everything for that. And it's always a pleasure just to be with Nick. He's a fantastic artist and always an inspiration. It's been for a very long time, and I really, really appreciate that. It's just an honor to be working on the same project again. So it's great.
Well, I was going to say before Luis signs off, not only following both of these incredible artists on all the socials, but they both have amazing streams that they do
on Twitch.
So if y'all watch streams, I highly recommend hanging out with Luis one night. Nick is always jamming to like amazing 90s tunes.
That's true.
While he's sketching, which is like the most chill way to spend an evening is like watching Nick draw, listening to 90s music with Luis in the chat doing little dancing gifs.
That's also true.
It's the best.
It is the best.
Dragon gifts in the chat.
This is Dragon Gifts is dancing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's a good summarize.
That's right.
100%. One of my favorite pastimes.
Yeah.
So, hey, Luis, thanks so much for joining us. Like, I know your connection is so fun and amazing that really wanted to get you all on the same stream, and thanks for dialing in.
Oh, thank you again. And if you guys want to follow me, just go to any social media at Gamut Feathers. That's my social media if you want to look at my stuff.
And everybody absolutely should.
Yeah. Thanks,
All right.
Luis.
Bye, Luis.
Bye, Luis.
Bye,
Oh,
Luis.
you got him. You got him right at the very end. And Nick, thanks so much for joining us and doing our surprise artist roundtable. Any closing thoughts? Anything lingering on the brain after Gen Con? And yeah,
I think the feeling I just came away with, and in general, just seeing Luis and Eri, and it's just an enormous sense of gratitude. I'm so grateful to be a part of this moment, and obviously this is taking on a life of its own, and the community is kind of becoming fully its own whole thing, and that's so cool to be a part of. I'm so glad to be just kind of invited into that excitement. So, I hope we're all in for a good long run for a good long time together. This has already been so much fun. I'm already planning to hit up a bunch of local game stores on Friday in the area and just randomly go with Sharpies and a bunch of people who are excited about Disney stuff, and we'll just sort of see what happens. But I definitely can't wait to play more and collect more with all y'all. So I'll see you guys out there for sure.
Thanks so much. I think you hit the nail on the head. Other than Disney, the word that I would use to describe Lorcana, in one word, is community. It has been amazing to see the community that sprung up among the fans and the artists and the company. And so I think you hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
And
Luis Mushu in the chat. Yes. Your lips to God's ears, to Mickey's ears. Luis on Mushu. Absolutely.
That's got to happen. And last thought, please pass along our best to Erica and say, I'm sorry that I didn't get to meet her at Gen Con next time.
For sure. Oh, yeah. We'll be around. You're not getting rid of us.
That's true. All right.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Nick.
Thanks so much,
Bye, Nick.
Thank you guys for having me. It was a pleasure.
Bye.
Woo! Brandon, what do you think?
Man, that was awesome. I'm just grinning the whole time. My mouth hurts. It's so cool to have all these guys in one place talking to each other. Honestly, makes me even more excited for Miami to have all of the artists together too. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah.
It is amazing, even the ones who don't know each other personally, and that, in researching these artists, there's so many that have personal connections that we don't know about. That's fun. Mm-hmm. But even the ones who don't know each other, they're all watching each other, inspiring each other. And so, Louise has a tweet that stuck in my head. And he at one point was asked on Twitter, what is one compliment or what is one thing that stuck with you forever? And he said, and I'm going to misquote it, but Nick Cole's compliment of my dragons lives in my head rent free. And that I think was before Lorcana. And so just to see how all of these artists work together and inspire each other is just amazing.
Yeah, that's something that was so fun is you have Nicholas Cole, you have Luis, and then you have Eri. And it's Eri's just he's still trying to comprehend all of this that's happening. He feels new to the whole thing. You have Nicholas Cole, who's done huge stuff with Spyro and Crash. And, he's been in this big light before and now he's doing Disney stuff. And then you have Luis, who's in the middle. It's just it's so cool to see people from across the entire spectrum of artists. You have people that are already really established and then people that are coming in new and having a great time. And you can honestly see and hear and sense the respect that all the other artists have for each other, which is just it's so cool to see them all compliment each other and talk about, oh yeah, I'm studying your cards and how you're doing all these different things and complimenting each other. It's like you said with the community, I couldn't have said that better myself. One thing that defines this card game for me is community. And it's so awesome to see that not only with the people actually playing the game, but then the illustrators, illustrating the game too. It's almost like there's a little family there that they've created because they've all worked on this game together.
Yeah. It's
Can't
incredible.
say any better myself. Hey, we're running long at Brandon. I think that is the exclamation point on the stream. Before I sign off, any closing thoughts and how can people follow you?
Honestly, my closing thoughts are go follow these awesome artists, man. They did amazing job on this game. I love talking and chatting with them as much as I can. You guys can go follow me at B224 on pretty much everything, but forget that. Go follow these guys. They're super awesome. So that's how I'm going to sign off.
That's awesome.
Couldn't say any better.
Well, it was great to see you, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you guys.
To seeing everybody hopefully next week.
Yeah.
Have a great night, all.
And speaking of sign off, you know how we sign off.
Oh, yeah. Sign off catchphrase.